Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a gigantic, disastrous, my house has exploded, clean with me video. So if you aren't needing some major inspiration, like enough inspiration to scrape mac and cheese off your living room floor, hang tight. When I said disaster, I meant disaster. This is my kitchen after having kind of a late Memorial Day barbecue with just my husband and I. We had celebrated with other friends the day before, but my husband wanted to keep the excitement going. The dishes were absolutely insane. There was stuff everywhere, barbecue remnants, mashed potatoes, garbage. Charlie had gotten into everything and taken all of her little stuffies from the fair into the kitchen. That energy had spilled over into her playroom. There was stuff absolutely everywhere. I swear, everywhere I turned in this house, there was just stuff, and I hate that feeling. It makes me feel so anxious and hate it. So it had to go. Even the dining room table was a mess, and usually that's pretty simple for me to clean, but there was just food and plates and dishes and all sorts of things everywhere. So I'm trying something new today. I made a gigantic shared to-do list on my phone in the notes section, and I sent it or shared it with my husband. So my hope is that once we get Charlie to bed and all of that stuff taken care of, that we can just go through and knock it out. But as you can see, it's a long one. I decided to tackle the playroom first, mostly because it was the biggest train wreck apart from my kitchen in the house. There was just toys and blocks and little bits and pieces everywhere, and I really needed to wipe down her little kitchen, the windowsill, her bookshelf, just little kids, sticky hands, snacks. There's just grunge places. So I figured I would tackle that cluster first. Whenever I'm doing a big giant clean like this, I usually try and work in a circle around my house. So I'm not just popping from one room to the other. So I figured I would start my circle for the evening at the biggest point of explosion, which happened to be the playroom. She had taken out every single piece of wooden food from her kitchen set, every little toy, every Blue's Clues thing, every wooden letter from her alphabet set, and it was all absolutely everywhere. So I had quite the job putting all the little pieces back where they go. After I got the toys picked up, I used this little hand vac to pull all of the crummies and dust out of the burners of her little kitchen and the sink and things like that, just areas that are a little bit harder to wipe down, and then started wiping down the actual kitchen itself. The fridge door, the freezer door, the counter, the little fake oven door, all of it was nasty, so it is now sparkly clean, but it took a little bit of elbow grease to get some of that off. Charlie likes to line up her snacks, usually her fruit, on the windowsill, so there's always some sort of a funk that needs to be cleaned up over there. She had also stepped on an applesauce packet earlier that day, and the floor over there was super sticky. So all in all, it needed a really good scrub down. Once I got all of the ick off of those two things, I started pulling stuff out so I could vacuum. I needed to put all the books back, get the funk out of the shelves, wipe those down, and just get the floor cleaned up so I could vacuum. Because Lord knows, toddlers and crumbs are a whole thing.
I want to be there in
Once I got all the stuff off the floor, toys and crap wise, it was time to run the vacuum over it. I love this little Bissell hard floor vacuum. It's super inexpensive. I think the last time I looked it was $50 on Amazon, and it works super well on low pile rugs. So it saves me from going upstairs having to pull the big carpet vacuum down just for 3 or 4 spots in the house. I can just run this guy over and it picks up 90% of the crummies and the junk. You know that area in your house that looks okay but ends up being the biggest pain in the butt to clean? That is this little half bathroom off of our downstairs. It looks fine when you walk in, but it just needed a good scrub down. The toilet needed to be cleaned. The baseboards need to be cleaned just because they had fuzzies and stuff on them. There's a cat litter box in there that needed to be cleaned. It didn't smell lovely. I don't think cat litter boxes ever do, but you know what I'm saying. And it just needed a general wipe down pretty much everywhere. So this little tiny bathroom probably took me 45 minutes to get totally clean just because of all the little projects that needed to happen with it. For your benefit, I did not include the 45 minutes worth of footage, sped it up, trimmed it down, but just keep in mind that absolutely every surface of this bathroom needed to be wiped down, disinfected, dusted, bleached, you name it.
Your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off. You don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off, don't hide it. I don't fit into your bars, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your bars, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your bars, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your bars, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder.
I saw the city passing by my window.
Once I had tackled the toilet and sink and counters and all that good stuff, it was time to tackle the other beast in the room, which is this cat litter box. We use the pelleted litter in this because we do have a problem cat that decides to pee on rugs and doormats and things, which is why I don't really have any. And knock on wood, she hasn't taken after the area rugs in the house yet. But I always try and stay on top of this one because I really want her to be encouraged to use her litter box and not my house. Highly don't recommend getting a cat.
Just knew the weed and you took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted.
And a small eternity later, this tiny room in my house is finally fresh, clean, and ready for the week. Remember how I said don't get a cat? Well, I have 2 cats, so I have 2 boxes. I had to clean this litter box out, ew gross, and then do a general dusting and tidying of the laundry room. This room doesn't see a ton of action apart from the cat litter, so it wasn't too bad, but I did need to empty the lint trap on the dryer. That was in rough shape, so thankfully that didn't go badly for me. And I like to run over that with the hand vac just to suck up all of the lint fuzzies that tend to fall out of there instead of sweeping them on the ground. Then I wiped down the dryer and the washer because they just needed a freshening.
You're making me wholehearted. Together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted.
And once the bathroom and the laundry room were done, I moved on to the second major cluster, which was the kitchen. I started by just putting away all the little odds and ends, putting the leftovers in the fridge, garbage away, just basically tidying all the bits and pieces before I attacked the counters and the dishes.
How you got me off the battleground? Yeah. You took it, took away my loneliness. So I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted. I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out. So try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me. No, nothing can break me.
I usually do my dishes every single night just to avoid situations like this. However, I don't necessarily regret the fun that I had all weekend that involved me not doing the dishes, so I guess there's a trade-off there. But maybe next year I'll throw some stuff in the dishwasher instead of letting it become a small Mount Everest in my sink, because this took me probably 25-30 minutes to get cleaned up just from the amount of stuff jam-packed in the sink. Plus there's always that pot or two on the stove you forget about till the very end. So literally the whole peninsula of my kitchen counters, you can kind of see the green lid poking out on the side, was all dishes. I had the fake dishes from Charlie's little kitchen set that needed to be cleaned because those were grungy. I had absolutely every baking, cooking, everything that needed to be washed. So 1,000 years later, I finally got that squared away, and that was such a relief having those clean. Everything got a good wipe down. I had to break out a second drying mat to deal with all of the dishes overflow. Dishwasher is running, counters are clean. So much better, but there's still crap on the floor. Of course there is. Keeping with the circular pattern here, next stop was the living room, dining room. Because I had just done the dishes, a lot of the mess on the table was already cleaned up since most of it was dinner mess and leftovers. So that was pretty easy. I just wiped down the table. Then I straightened up the couch cushions. Note to self, next couch I buy will have the ones that zipper to the base of the couch, not just sit on it, because every single night I've got to re-fluff them and put them back where they go. And then I just quickly ran a vacuum over this room to clean up all of the crummies and things that had fallen down from dinner and all of the cat fuzzies that end up all over my house no matter what I do.
Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car.
You were my best friend. Didn't care about the rules, good on the weekends.
At this point in the night, it is probably 11:30 at night. Danny is asleep, Charlie is asleep. Poor guy had to listen to the vacuum, but you know what? At least he wasn't the one vacuuming and cleaning it up, right? I quickly ran the vacuum over the rest of the downstairs. I'd only really vacuumed the living room, so I wanted to finish that up for the rest of the night. I was planning on cleaning my bedroom, but that was like a level 2 grade cluster, and Danny was already asleep, and I wasn't going to turn on the light and vacuum at 11:30 at night. I would like to stay married, so I think that would be a really good plan not to do that.
We were in too deep.
There's something so satisfying about a clean floor to me. I got all the stuff out of the kitchen. There's always so much gunk that ends up on the kitchen floor at the end of the day. So I got that cleaned up, went into the hall. That's where the cat litter ends up accumulating since it's close to the boxes, and then vacuumed my office super quick as well. It is now the next day. Literally, as I was finishing up vacuuming yesterday, my camera battery died. Like, I was walking to the camera to turn it off and it went, New. So I just called it for the night because it was like just after midnight and I was done. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope this motivated you to tackle any hard spots in your house. Clearly, my whole house was a disaster zone, so hopefully yours isn't as bad. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.